Let the beat rock. Here we are, folks. 5 years of newsroom. Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business. Hopefully the audio's working. I mean, if there's one theme that we've acquired throughout the years, 5 big old years in newsroom, it's a good old technical difficulty. But here's what we're going to do. Here. Thanks, chat, for sticking with us. Let's see. Audio is fine. Hey, look, we're doing something. Let's pray to the gods, the spring football gods. That energy and turgy keeps the power on at Casa de Ref, the USFL Newsroom HQ. So let me give you a little breakdown of what happened here, folks. So I live in a small town, and every so often they have to move some big machinery down the main road that's about 5 miles from me. Now, when they do that, they take down the power lines, move the machinery, and put the power lines back. And that looks like what happened today. Now, the good news is, if you're watching this on a replay, if you're not with us live, you're not even really going to know. It's just going to go to that sweet pre-stream music thanks to Akira the Don. If you haven't checked them out, check them out. Let us know we could use that music. And I mean, it is banging music. But here we are. We got 5 years of newsroom. We got some big news in Canton. And we're going to act like we're live. We're just going to act like nothing happened because I got a replay of the event. We're going to do some live reactions. I got a couple, like, look at these screens I got here. Look at me with all the different logos. I mean, 5 years of Newsroom Spectacular. Call the cops because it must be illegal to have this much fun on a Wednesday morning. Wednesday afternoon now. Well, still morning here in Texas. I got the Topo Chico. We're going, what do we got here? Twist of grapefruit. And I mean, ain't nothing wrong with some Topo Chicos here. But we're going to watch the event live. Before we do that, let's talk about newsroom, man. I mean, shoot, it's been 5 big old years. 5 years ago today, we started a little website called XFL Newsroom. Just a little old XFL news site. And I mean, we didn't know that it would become as big as it did. I mean, we're almost at 16,000 followers on Twitter, hitting over 1 million a year. Views, not money. I wish. But now, I mean, that's expanded. We have USFL Newsroom. Clearly, we're talking about the big USFL news today. We got the USFL podcast. We have Arena Newsroom, which is kind of a newer site. Pro Football Newsroom that's encompassing all of them. We got the Discord, which is probably the greatest blessing. I never would have thought the Discord would have became a life of its own, but it has. And I love the Discord. Every day there's funny things going on with the Discord. Let's take a look at the chat here real quick. Good morning, Jenna. Longtime fan of the Newsroom crew. Glad to have you on board. Jim Mernier, I mean, that one's going back. If you've been with us for a long time, you know, one of my first co-hosts was this man right here in the chat, Jim Mernier. We used to cover the different XFL head coaches coming aboard. And I mean, those were the days where the newsroom crew was pretty small. I think it was just Jim, Tron Hawkins from This is the XFL and This is the USFL podcast, and myself. 5 years, man. It's so crazy to me. I'll be honest. Last year we did one of these videos. I didn't do it live. I posted it over on the other channel. And I mean, at the time, I don't know. And I liked the site. I wanted to keep building it, but I didn't feel as hype as I do this year. 5 years of newsroom. I'm feeling like we're going to make this bigger and better every year. And this year, I think it's going to be a red letter year for us. Again, we're going to act like the event didn't happen, but it did, right? And we had our correspondent, Ducky, community legend in the house, got a question in, so we're going to cover that as we go over everything. But what is the big news today? We already kind of talked about it. Let's see. Where are we going to go here? We're going to turn that off. There we go. Canton, Ohio, a hub officially announced by the USFL. They're going to be hosting the Maulers and the Generals, kind of serving as home for the Maulers. Now it's, roughly 90 minutes to 2-hour distance from Pittsburgh, which, hey, maybe not optimal, but let me give you a good comparison here. I live in the greater Houston area, and it takes me about 2 hours to get to NRG. And I live in greater Houston. Now, again, still not optimal for me, but I do it. We got some new colors, we got a new coach, and now we got a new home. And like I said, we're going to go, and we're going to act like nothing ever happened. We're just going to go right through and watch this bad boy. Oh, probably, there we go. Now we got some audio. And now the good news is I can actually fast forward here. So let's get right up to the beginning.
Serving as Executive Vice President for the Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company, and I couldn't be more pleased to welcome you all here today. Probably not new news since we have it on the Jumbotron, but we are so excited to share this press conference with the world today, extending our partnership and our relationship with the USFL. How exciting is that? So I want to thank you all for being here with us. I want to send special thanks to the community members that are with us, who are
and
also
community
our
legends, mind you.
And I also want
and
to say
community
thank
legends.
you to our team for. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do things like this today. So thank you all. It's my wonderful pleasure now to introduce John Lytle, who's my colleague, who will share rules of engagement for today.
So I missed the beginning of this, honestly, because I was dealing with the power outage.
Good to see some smiling faces. Good to see a packed house. Daryl Johnston, Michael Crawford, and Coach Horton will take questions following formal remarks. Everyone looks like they're all seated, so I think we're in good shape. First, I'd like to introduce the host of Fox NFL Sunday.
Happy to
Fox
have
NFL
you here.
Thursday.
Thanks for joining us. 5 years of newsroom. Big news going on up here. Now let's get to the event. I think Kurt Menefee, kicks things off.
Follow the rules of engagement,
which we love to see.
It sounds pretty serious here.
It is serious, buddy. This is big news.
Great to be here. I know, for those of us from Southern California, we're thanks for making it through the storm, but for you, this is just January in Northeastern Ohio. So we appreciate you taking the time to come out and do this in person. Those of you that are watching online and other places, for me, this is the third straight year that I've been able to come to Canton. We were here for the induction of the class of 2021 at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in the summer of 21 when Jimmy Johnson went in. We were here last summer to cap off the inaugural season for the USFL.
That's right. We were there too.
Philadelphia Stars and Birmingham Stallions played for the championship, and Birmingham won a thrilling game that was seen all across the country on Fox Sports to a large audience. And now we're back again this year. My first straight year in Canton. And two things that really stood out to me about being in this area. One, I'm surprised at how good the restaurant. Shout out to Bender's and also Gervasi's Winery.
Definitely good food in Canton.
Is the passion for people and their love of football here. And it's not just football fans that are here. You have football fans all over the country, but there's a passion that exists here in this part of the country that you don't find in a lot of other places. And that was shown last year when the championship game was played here. And we saw a packed house and parents and kids and getting autographs and just enjoying the atmosphere. And that showed on television, which made a better broadcast for us. But it was really something special, and I'm looking forward to being able to, share this announcement today with some other people that will be extended maybe a little bit more here. So throughout the day,
we'd like to hear.
We're going to have Fox Sports CEO Eric Shanks will come up and speak. Michael Crawford, who's the president and CEO of the Pro Football Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment, and Coach Ray Horton of the Pittsburgh Maulers. But first, I'm going to bring up the executive vice president for the USFL for football operations, Daryl Moose Johnston, to kick us off.
Let's go. Let's go, folks. Who doesn't love hearing from Moose?
Thank you, Kurt. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. 6 months ago, when the USFL handed over the first championship trophy to the Birmingham Stallions just outside this room, little did we know that we'd be back here today to say we are back.
I like that zoom.
The USFL is excited that the Pittsburgh Maulers and the New Jersey Generals will practice and play games in Canton during the 2023 regular season.
Sign us up, folks. Claps in the chat.
Thanks
Claps
to a
in the
successful
chat.
season one that was capped by an incredible postseason here in Canton, the USFL is now a proven and stable brand on the professional football national stage. Season 2 is about growing our fan base by continuing to play high-quality and competitive football that fans love to watch, expanding into additional markets, and strengthening our partnerships. Returning to Canton for 2023 achieves these goals. The outstanding regional support we received during our first postseason from football fans in Ohio and Pennsylvania, including the great city of Pittsburgh, coupled with our successful partnership with the Hall of Fame Village, led to this moment. The Pro Football Hall of Fame Village shines as a beacon for football fans across the country.
Fact.
Because we know these fans crave more football, we're also thrilled to announce that the USFL North Division playoff game and championship game will return here in 2023.
There we go, folks.
While we remain committed to incrementally placing all teams into their namesake markets, expanding play in Canton with 2 iconic franchises continues building a regional fan base, keeps the brand in the national consciousness, and strengthens the league's partnerships with the Hall of Fame Village in preparation to bring postseason games back to Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium.
Which you love to see. So now we got playoffs,
Fans who attended last
championship,
year's playoffs here got to see USFL Season 1 MVP,
3 birds, 1 stone,
and all-star USFL player Maurice Alexander Jr. returned 2 kickoffs for touchdowns. When their season ended, both players moved on to the NFL, where Cavante was just selected to the NFL Pro Bowl.
MVP.
It demonstrates the high-quality football that fans can expect here in Canton during the upcoming 2023 season. Crowning a USFL champion last July was a generational accomplishment because the UFL did something no one else could. Complete a successful spring football season and return for Season 2.
Sign us
In fact,
up.
it's been nearly 40 years since a major professional spring football league has accomplished this feat.
That's right.
Here in Canton, the USFL showed that our league has a strong future. Our thrilling championship game had 1.5 million viewers and a capacity crowd who enjoyed an electric atmosphere. We're proud of the brand of football we provided our fans, and we expect Season 2 to be even better. We're confident because we continue to embrace opportunities while fulfilling every commitment to include expansion. In November, we announced that the Memphis Showboats and Houston Gamblers will be hosted in Memphis. We also announced that the Birmingham Stallions and the New Orleans Breakers will be hosted in Birmingham. And today, we're back in Canton because fans in this region share our passion to celebrate football. In 2023, the USFL is proud to bring high-quality and competitive football to Canton, Birmingham, and Memphis. In the days ahead, we'll make more news about what is going to be an exciting USFL Season 2 that begins in April.
And we'll be back here
first,
tomorrow. Hopefully
it's
the
our
power
privilege to
stays
announce
on.
that the Pittsburgh Maulers and the New Jersey Generals will face off in Canton's first regular season game on Sunday, April 23rd.
April
Fans
23rd,
can
mark the
pre-register
calendar.
for USFL Canton game tickets
in Canton.
via Ticketmaster to make a deposit for $25 and lock in priority access.
And get those tickets now.
The man leading the Pittsburgh Maulers is a 3-time Super Bowl winner. One of those is a teammate of mine with the Dallas Cowboys.
Which you love to see.
He's very
don't
familiar
you?
with this region, having been a defensive coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers as a secondary coach and the defensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the newest member of the USL family, your head coach of the Pittsburgh Maulers, Ray Horton.
There we go. Claps in the chat, folks. Claps in the chat. New head coach.
Thank you, teammate. So many years ago, I don't know if we would have thought we'd be standing here working for Fox and the USFL and continuing great football and a great friendship. I appreciate that. And I want to thank Mr. Shanks for the opportunity of a lifetime. It really is. I want to welcome all you guys here. We will be very media friendly. If you need something, just ask. You'll get it.
That's
okay?
what I love to hear.
Speaking of media, Darren James, who's a vice president of communications, he's not here. He's in Detroit right now. And he's the one that comes up with all these great words and sayings and commas and adjectives. And he's a great guy. But here's what he gave me. He said, Ray, stand up, say thank you, and sit down. Okay? Darren and I haven't met yet, but he'll go, wow. He may be a wordsmith, but I'm a storyteller, so I'm not going to sit down. Okay?
Yeah, there you go.
We may not today be at the hollow grounds of Arlington National Cemetery, where men and women sacrifice their all for our freedoms. But we are at the revered grounds of pro football. We're here at Canton, Ohio,
birthplace of Pro
Football Hall of Fame, where men have created dreams for little kids to go, one day, mommy, one day, daddy, I'll be in that building. So for us, it's a perfect backdrop. For me personally, I'm not going into the Hall of Fame wearing a gold jacket giving a speech, but I am at the Hall of Fame giving a speech wearing my gold of the Pittsburgh Maulers.
One day, Coach. One day.
Now, for most of you guys, some of you guys are from Ohio, some of you guys aren't. Does anybody know what the motto on your license plate is?
Birthplace of aviation, right?
Nobody knows what it says on the bottom of your license plate?
Home of pro football.
No.
The heart of it all.
There we go.
There
the
I go.
Birthplace of aviation. I'm a private
I don't even know what's
pilot.
on the
If I took
Texas
off from
license
Canton
plate, to be
Airfield
honest
over
with
here,
you.
They told me to take off of 22 right. As I push that throttle, start running down that runway, lift off, give it a little bit of right rudder, keep it even. If I took a heading of 258, I go a little bit southwest down to Dayton, home of Wright brothers, birthplace of aviation. Well, I kind of feel like Ohio is my birthplace into professional football. I was originally out of the University of Washington, and I was originally first drafted by the LA Express of the USFL.
And you love to see them back.
Then, in the second round, I was drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals, whose owner at the time was Paul Brown, one of the innovators of pro football. I mean, a brilliant man. And I remember some of the stories he told me, just chilling stories of life and men and America. His son is still down there now, Mike Brown, and his other son, Pete Brown, who was one of the most compassionate men in football, passed away a few years ago. I was devastated by that. He was probably the most kindest soul in football I've ever met. And Katie Brown Blackburn is still down there, and the Bengals are doing well. I also coach up at Cleveland Browns, and although we didn't win a lot, I tell you what, the fans of Cleveland adopted me as one of their own. I love the fans of Cleveland. Then, of course, we were at Pittsburgh, and we were fantastic over there. So I look at the triangle of Southern Ohio, Northern Ohio, Western PA as my kind of birthplace of pro football.
There you go,
and
folks.
I'm indebted to that.
Back home.
When I was a player,
sorta.
I was a good player. Daryl was a better player than I was, but I was a good player. And I helped my teams to 2 Super Bowls, and I became a coach. I was a much better coach than I was a player. I helped my teams to 3 Super Bowls. I helped players to become Hall of Famers, Pro Bowlers, starters, guys that stayed in the NFL longer than probably they thought. I still get calls from people saying, Coach, and I can show you texts from players that go, Coach, I wouldn't be in this game if it wasn't for you. But I think ultimately what my biggest compliment is, I believe I've made these men better human beings and better men. I really do. I think it's so cool that the Pittsburgh Maulers are here in Canton. It gives us a great backdrop of watching that stadium, watching the facility, watching the fans, and being able to tour it. And I think when I came here, we've been here a few times as teams. One time when Dick LeBeau was getting introduced in the Hall of Fame. To me personally, the coolest thing about the Hall of Fame, you get to walk through, you get to see whoever your favorite team. Mine growing up was Kansas City. But when you walk through, you get to see rings. You get to see rings. It's about winning. And for us to have our players here in the Hall of Fame Village, what an awesome experience this is going to be. And when you look at what this is, this triangle I'm talking about of Western PA, Northern and Southern Ohio, it's going to be so cool to have our guys here. Mm-hmm. When you look at what this is, Massillon, Ohio, the Tigers. When you look at the very first pro football game, Latrobe, PA versus Jeanette. So this background here, this triangle that I call it, is huge to pro football. And the Pittsburgh Maulers and the USFL are indebted that you guys are letting us play on this hollow ground. When you look at the Akron pros, Fritz Pollard, the first black player coach arguably in pro football. The Canton Bulldogs right here, Jim Thorpe, everybody knows Jim Thorpe, excuse me. And then for me personally, Don James, he was from here too. He is why I'm here. And lastly, what we want to do here is the Pittsburgh Maulers are going to be embedded in this community. Whether we go to McKinley High School, which is right next door. I know today is a snow day, but we're going to be in the community. We're going to visit high schools. We're going to invite the players out, the coaches out for clinics. Whether we're at Glen Oaks, Washington, Hoover, Canton, we're going to be in the community, and we're going to try to embrace what you guys are giving us and give it back to you. So if you can, come visit the Hall of Fame and watch the USFL grow. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, claps in the chat, folks. Claps in the chat. And I love to see that they're going to be working in the community.
I'll make sure Daryl knows that was not good advice. Thank you so much for your stories. Now you can see why the USFL is so excited to have Ray Horton as part of our family and why we pursued him as hard as we did. I can't wait to see not only the impact he made on the field, but as you said, what your players become as they move on in their journey in life. Thank you so much for being a part of the team.
I think Daryl said it best. I mean, it's not just Ray, it's the quality of people that are involved in the USFL that is one of the joys that I
Football
have.
people,
being
too.
part of it. And you take a look at this, and for me,
no Hollywood
we talk
knockoffs
about
here,
passion
folks.
football. But when you pair it with an iconic place, then that's what makes it special. And we're here. I can tell you, I moved in 2006 when I got the gig on the NFL and Fox pregame show. Drove cross country from New York City to Los Angeles. Spent 17 days getting a chance to see some of the special places that we have in America that I think we take for granted a lot. But the first stop I made, I drove from New York City, I kid you not, was here in Canton, Ohio, because I wanted to go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'd never been before. That was the first stop I made on a 17-day journey. That was 2006. It was just the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And it was just a building that was there, and it was great. But there wasn't a whole lot around it. Well, now it's the Pro Football Hall of Fame Village.
Oh, and it's going to be sweet,
and it has
folks.
grown. It continues to grow. We got a chance to see it the last couple of years. I talked about being here. And there's more to come. And to talk about that and the connection with the USFL, I'd like to introduce the CEO of the Pro Football Hall of Fame Village, CEO and President. Don't want to shortchange you there. You got two jobs. You got to earn it. Come on up here, Michael Crawford.
The Hall of Fame Village is going to be sweet. They're going to have hotels, water slides. I don't know if you saw Ducky's post. They had like a sled
Well,
thing
first of all,
going
I'm
on.
not sure that I can add a lot to this. And when Ray was standing here talking, Eric bent over to me and he said, I think he's going to be good for you. I think he's going to be good for football, period. And I really am excited to welcome you here. There's a lot of analogs between what the USFL and Fox are doing and what we're doing. And what we're doing, we'd like to believe, is creating a world-class destination that sort of straddles the line between sports and entertainment. Sounds a little familiar. You're giving birth, maybe the second time, to what I would consider to be some of the best football I saw here last year. It was so compelling. The fans, the quality,
It was a
everything
blast
was
at the
top-notch and
championship
excellent.
game.
And I was honored we had a chance to have a dinner last night, and my team, Mike Levy and Ann and Vic and so many others that are here, did such a phenomenal job last year that USFL and Fox said we had to come back. That's not by coincidence. That's blood, sweat, and tears. People really genuinely pour their hearts into everything we do here. We've created a lot of new assets. We have a 100,000 square foot center for performance. We've got a fan engagement zone with really unique new assets, restaurants, Topgolf, Don Shula's American Kitchen.
Topgolf is
Lots
sweet,
of
by the
things
way.
for people to do. So we're excited when we think about hosting a regular season for a professional football
I wonder
league.
if that's a
Never done that
prerequisite to
before.
the USFL
Right behind
hub.
us, I think we have
The
one
top
of the
golf
best
across the
stadiums in
street
America.
can protect
May not
it.
have the capacity
I'm
that
just
some
weird.
stadiums have, but when you put the amenities, the quality, the care in which that facility was designed to accommodate the media, the players, the coaches, I think people are going to really enjoy, and they have already, watching world-class football here. I'd also say just a couple of things. when I showed up in December of 2018, there was a little bit of skepticism in the community. There was a lot of things that had been promised and talked about. And building these kinds of destinations, it's not easy. It takes time. It takes dedication.
It really is going to be a football
funding.
mecca when this thing
As
is
some
done.
of us all
It
know,
already
we want
is.
to start something new.
Now with the
But it also
USFL
takes
there,
great partners.
sign them
There's
up.
several people in this room that have been great partners. Our county commissioners, our city council, heads of our local community foundations, Visit Canton. A lot of folks have made this day possible. I get credit for doing this. Let me tell you something. I'm just a guy that gets to pull a few strings and gets to coordinate some of the plays. I consider myself a coach as well, Coach, and I'd love to talk to you because I think there's a lot of things I can learn from you. But I can say in business, you're only successful when you have great partners and you have great teams. I look at the USFL as a great partner.
I agree.
What they're doing, what they're launching, is tagging on to our motto, inspiring the past, honoring the past, inspiring the future. They're honoring what has happened
Sign us up.
and everything, and I think paying tribute to the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the greats that have been inducted there, the players, the contributors, the coaches. But they're giving these young men an opportunity to further their dream, to be a professional football player, to be a professional football coach. That's something I have a lot of passion for. Everything we do, we want to do it at the highest level. Our destination here continues to evolve. We've put a lot of new assets in place. Experiences are going to be opening. We're going to be entertaining guests before and after. And yeah, we have created an opportunity for people to walk around freely with beverages and feel good about where they're at. We've got outdoor rides.
While we're watching this chat, let me know down in the comments.
Building a football
Do you
team
plan on
this year, the
attending
only
a
football team
USFL
water
game
park in
this
America.
year?
So the goal here
If
is,
so,
and I
which
think Barry
hub?
said this last night, this
Let
is
us know down in
turnkey.
the chat. We'll talk
It's
about it after this.
purpose-built to host great events, great entertainment, great sports. I am so honored, we are so honored to have this league choose us as one of the 4 destinations to play. I have to say I've been a Cleveland fan my whole life, so Coach, I honor what you've done there, and that's the part I'm holding on to. I'm not sure I can root for the Pittsburgh Maulers, but gosh darn it, I'm looking forward to some great football. You'll win me over.
There you go.
And the New Jersey Generals and all of the teams that are going to come here to play. I think Canton, Stark County, this region, Western Pennsylvania, Northeast Ohio is going to be blown away by the show that you guys are going to put on. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming today. Again, it's our honor to host you here, and it's a privilege to be associated with USFL and Fox. It really is. Thank you.
Come on, drop the clap in the chat. Claps in the chat, folks. Claps in the chat.
Just to piggyback on one of the things that Michael said, he talked about the opportunities for players and coaches. You know, one of the great things about a league like the USFL, and I've seen it happen, it provides
And the
opportunities
crowd,
for so
baby.
many people. It's not just players and coaches, it's announcers, it's
Somewhere in
equipment
there,
people,
it's community
it's
legend.
training staff, it's officials. Don't believe yet, 8 of them moved on to the National Football League last year out of the USFL. But it provides people an opportunity to keep their dream alive, to chase it a little bit longer. Whether you're a young man, young woman, and getting older man or older woman, it still gives you that opportunity. And the guy who had the vision to put all of this together and bring the USFL back is the CEO and executive producer of Fox Sports.
Here we
my
go.
boss, Eric Shanks.
The big man. Big man's here for some big news. Not very often we hear from Mr. Shanks. Let's hear what he's got to
All right,
say.
thank you, Kurt. Good to see such a packed house here this morning. I won't be long, but I just wanted to say a number of thank yous that made today and this entire operation possible. On the USFL and Fox side, I see Larry Jones, Dan Carey, who runs the business operations side of the USFL, while Daryl runs the football side. Thank you, Mike, and then the other Mike Levy, also John and Ann and Vic. Thank you guys so much for not only what you did for our playoffs and championship game last year, but as Mike said, making it impossible for us to go anywhere else for 2023. I just want to thank Kurt for hosting today. Coach, it's a real privilege and honor to have you on board. If that initial speech didn't make people want to play for you, it at least made them want to come to your meetings, right? I think they're going to be pretty darn interesting. It was actually exactly 1 year ago today that we were in snowless Birmingham, Alabama,
I remember it
announcing
fondly.
actually season 1 of the USFL. Our goal at that time was to, quite simply, celebrate football. The appetite for football in this country is insatiable. And at Fox, and now at the USFL, and I know here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, we truly believe that football is more important to this country than just what happens between the white lines. It's a social good. And as we continue to expand the footprint of the USFL, we think we're going to do a lot of good in these communities, not just for the men who play the game, for the coaches who coach, but for the communities themselves. And we were also, as Daryl said, able to crown a champion of a spring football league in a very long time, something that hadn't been done in nearly 40 years. We handed out that trophy to the Birmingham Stallions, and after the game, it was so cool to place it in its rightful place just over in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, where it sits for fans year-round to come see it. And it's because Canton is that home of football and the fantastic partnership with the Hall of Fame that it's great to officially welcome Canton to Season 2 of the USFL. So whether it's in the Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium, watching the games, or if you're watching on your couch on Fox or NBC, the USFL is going to bring fans closer to the game that it loves. And we hope that fans and families, because it is such a family-friendly atmosphere that we want to create around the USFL, when they come to Canton to celebrate football by seeing a USFL game, visiting the Hall of Fame Museum, or checking out the amazing programming that's going to happen in the Hall of Fame Village, starting with that first game right here on April 23rd. So we just couldn't be more excited to kick off Season 2. Again, thank you to everyone who's making this happen, for all of us at the USFL, and to making this vision and dream come true. Kurt, back to you. Oh, actually, John, I think, is going to bring up for a little Q&A. So, John, take it away. Thank you, guys.
All right, let's sit for the Q&A. I was really bummed. I had a couple good questions for this, but hopefully tomorrow technical difficulties won't haunt us as much. But keep your ear out, because there's a legendary question from a legendary community legend coming up. Now, and even some of our friends from the USFL network. This is what I love about the USFL. Giving the small media a chance to participate. So we're going to listen to this part as well, kind of go through the Q&A. Then we're going to do some chat, get everybody's thoughts. Like I said, let us know if you plan on attending some games.
Just as a reminder to pose your question, raise your hand, say your name, affiliation, and direct your question.
And let us know, too. Let's do a couple other questions. Where would you like to see the USFL expand in the future? Like we talked about some of those trademarks being available.
Hi, Joe Scalzo.
Put your thoughts in the comments. We'll talk about this
I wonder if
later.
you guys could just talk about the decision to host games here but not have a team in Canton specifically.
Well, I think the big thing for us is
a
we
big
want to do it
question right here.
incrementally. We want to move out incrementally and be smart, fiscally responsible. That was one of the big reasons we were in Birmingham with all 8 teams in one hub last year. You know, we knew there were going to be challenges, but what we've seen with the other 2 leagues is growing really quickly and getting yourself into a little bit of trouble at that time. So one of the big things that we've done is to kind of move at that pace that's smart, gives us the best opportunity to succeed, and we fully plan to move our teams into their marketplaces at some time, but we have to do it in a way that's successful for us. And we ask our coaches to do it a lot. You know, Ray's focus is going to be on the Pittsburgh Maulers, but there's going to be times where the focus needs to be on the USFL as well. So balancing big picture with the success of your team is something that we ask our coaches to do, and we have to follow suit and just be smart there. So the proximity to Pittsburgh and here in the Hall of Fame in Canton, we thought was a great fit. And you've got Ray's going to be partnered with Mike Riley, and Mike is a great coach as well. You know, with the New Jersey franchise that's based here in Canton.
You like sandwiches.
You've got two of the best
Yeah.
guys in our football family that are going to be making Canton home.
Thanks, Daryl. Next question.
Hi, Ed Blunt, reporter with the Canton Repository. Apologize for being late, but I got stuck in the snow and I guess everyone else is a better driver than me. But,
Are you from Ohio, born and raised?
yes, I am.
That's a dusting out there. It's just a dusting.
Yeah, come on, man.
All my life. You talked about a lot of the people on stage there about helping out the community, having an impact on the community. Could you comment on that in terms of community involvement, economic development, just any aspect of that, please?
Well, for me, this morning I tried to go to McKinley High School to Glen Oaks. You guys had a snow day. Being, as I said, in the Triangle, I've seen a ton of snow, and I was like, really? Things have changed. But no, we do. We want to help. For me, it's kids, young kids, boys and girls. You now have women coaching.
I'd love to see it.
Somewhere there's going to be a woman in the Hall of Fame. So for us, it is community. And because it's a game that most of us played some kind of sports or athletic or loved athletics, giving back to the community. And so today I want to snow day or not, stop by some high schools in the area. If they're closed, next time I come in. But that's my part of it, is giving back to the young part of the community.
Yeah, I think that's well said. For us, being the venue, the destination, as we've always said, economic impact on the community is a major priority. And I can tell you from experience, when you're creating all of these types of assets, there's tax associated with that, but there's also uplift in the community when these teams come into play.
Which I think is a huge
start
impact. I always
practicing in
love to
March,
see
and other teams are having games here.
these leagues
They're
and
staying
teams get
somewhere in our
involved in the
community,
community.
they're eating somewhere in our community. And so it really does create value directly and indirectly on an economic point of view. The other side of the coin is when you think about the Fox partnership here and nationally televising these games, the ability for Canton to have the exposure and to create awareness around all the great things that are happening in our community is invaluable for us. So we're very thankful to have the opportunity to host, to be able to create that economic uplift, and also to be able to give even greater profile to our community.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Mike.
Hi, Mark Bowen of Cleveland.com. Two-part question. Michael, for you, you touched on the invaluable exposure and the economic impact. I know you have a lot going on in terms of youth sports. You've got restaurants, you've got pro football here, college football, covered all the HBCU games. Kind of an easy question, but I am curious, where does the USFL stand in terms of those potential draws? You have a lot more going on, more than ever, I think, in Canton. So where does the USFL stand? Is this the number one attraction? Is it in the top five? Because you obviously have expanded this. The second part of the question, piggybacking off of that, is if I'm understanding this right, Daryl, the league has moved away from the doubleheader semis format and has split that. I may be misreading that, but I was just curious about the change in the format. So, Michael, if you want to start with that.
Sure. Look, anytime you get partnerships, as I said, are critical for us. Anytime you have an opportunity to partner with a world-class league, a professional league.
That's
like
right, world-class. Not a Hollywood knockoff, baby.
I think it's always got to be a priority for us. And the volume of activity that's created around this, I mean, Kirk pointed out, these are not just players and coaches. These are reporters. These are support individuals. It takes
community
a
legends.
lot to generate and create a professional football game. Doing that multiple times in our city certainly has a dramatic impact versus a one-off event. Having said that, our goal is excellence in everything we do. And I really appreciated last night in Eric's comments about us making it difficult for them not to come back. That was our goal. We wanted to create a destination, we wanted to provide service, and it's the same for our guests, and it's the same for anybody else, other partners, other events that we're going to host here. We want to be the best at what we do. We're not trying to boil the ocean. We want to be selective on the partners that we have, and we want to make sure that every time we do something, we can do it at the highest level. So yeah, it was critical for us. And I would say right now, Enshrinement Weekend sits at the very top of our list, honoring the past, inspiring the future, making sure those greatest players and contributors and coaches who have ever played have a place to be honored here in Canton, Ohio, at the birthplace of professional football. But look, having a chance at a league, playing regular season games, divisional playoff, and championship game here, you better believe this is a big opportunity for us as a company and a big opportunity for us as a community.
Hey, I love to see it.
I like that synergy.
as a player, you get yourself ready to play the game, and you're tied into your offense, and that ties into the team. As a broadcaster, I get myself ready to do the broadcast with my partner and with our group.
Looking
Last year
always
was
spiffy,
eye-opening for
if
me
I must say.
to see what goes on behind the scenes that I was never aware of. Travel, meals, Ray and I would go, we'd show up,
Unloading
everything's laid out, it's all
Gatorade
ready
from
to go.
buses.
Hey,
We
that's
all
awesome.
seen the
There are
videos
a lot of
last
people doing
year.
that work behind the
Bruce
scenes.
puts
That
in
was one
work.
of the biggest revelations for me last year. You learn more about all the different components, about not only building the league, but the teams, the production, the broadcast. What we're going to have this year with lead-ins to some of our USFL games is absolutely amazing.
This
so
is
you're
huge.
coming off an event like Preakness. and rolling
Preakness
into an
Stakes,
NBC game.
baby.
Fox and NBC have done a tremendous job of giving us these lead-ins into our games. And that was one of the big decisions for the semifinals, was just a decision based on the window, maximizing viewership, creating a rating, and then we'll talk to our coaches on the back end about the split and get them on board. It's like I mentioned with Ray. Sometimes it's going to be about the Maulers, sometimes it's going to be about the Maulers and the USFL. And that's a conversation we'll have with our coaches when the time is right. But the biggest reason is maximizing the exposure of our product on two great platforms when you talk about Fox and NBC. Because I grew up watching football on TV. There's nobody that does it better than the NFL on Fox and NBC Sunday Night Football. Those are the two crown jewels when you talk about the broadcast and the presentation of professional football.
No shill, he
They're
is
our
right.
partners.
Fox is my
And
preference.
when it
but-
comes to decisions based on things that are involved in that component of our league, then we look to them for the guidance.
Thank you, Mark. Other questions in the room?
Is it this one? I think it is. That lady couldn't believe it.
Ducky with the USFL.
She's like, oh, there's
And
Ducky.
Just a question for Coach. How does it feel playing with your son, or coaching with your son, with the Pittsburgh Maulers now?
I appreciate that, Ducky.
Name drop.
One of the reasons I'm here is Daryl, and we had a long conversation about this topic. And the word I used to Daryl was legacy.
Duck
And
emojis in the chat, folks.
Whether you're
Duck
a doctor,
emojis in
a
the chat.
dentist, you can create
I think it's
a legacy for your son to grow up in your law practice. It's kind of rare in the sports profession. It's becoming a little bit more commonplace. If I said the Belichicks, if I said the Shanahans, it's starting to become a thing. But for Eric and for Daryl and for the USFL to give me, a guy that looks like me, the opportunity to have a legacy with my son, I think it's important. And Daryl and I talked about that, and I appreciated his understanding and willingness to go, I like that, let's do it. So,
Oh
to
man,
me,
everyone
it's
be
gonna an
nice
honor,
to
it's
the
gonna be,
Coley in the
he understands me,
chat.
we
But
talk
Duck's in
every
the
day.
chat too.
We're
Sign
ahead
us
of
up.
the curve on installs and playbooks.
And I don't know if I
think when
said
you
that name right. I apologize.
have a child, whether it's a son or a daughter, that follows your footsteps, you kind of look back and go, wow, they're just like me. But he's beyond me. I mean, in knowledge and I won't say experience, but in accoutrement, he is a heck of a coach. And he's going to kick me out of the league because he's that good. So I'm looking forward to him, and he's going to get the opportunity to talk to you. We are kind of co-head coaches, if you will.
Which is kind of
He's
cool
assistant
here.
head coach,
Right?
and I'm going to give him everything he can handle. He's a brilliant young mind. Thanks, Ducky.
Thanks, Ducky.
When we had that position open, we had two positions open up this year, and a lot of the people that covered the USFL talked about internal hires, and Jaron Horton was number one on that list by far. So his day will come, as Ray said. His day will come to fulfill
Oh,
his
you
dreams.
love to see it. Build from within.
Thank you, Daryl. Thank you, Coach. We're going to take a minute to go to our Zoom audience now for the next
So
question.
this is where I would have jumped in with my questions. I had one along the lines of a short.
Hi, Ace from the USFL
Ace
Network.
from the USFL Network.
My
I
question is
do.
for Coach
Claps
Horton.
in the
I
chat.
was wondering, in what ways do you plan on changing or enhancing the culture of the Pittsburgh Maulers in Season 2?
Well, the first thing, it has to be accountability. I can say whatever I want, but they don't buy in. And I've heard today, Kurt, Daryl, Eric, Michael talk about opportunity. And for me, that is the biggest, my favorite word in the American dictionary. And I've read
thousands.
Can I say
right?
thousands of books?
Yeah.
I read, I heard somebody laugh. I'm a voracious reader. I've read every Tom Clancy, every James Patterson, Baldacci, you name it, the Bible, everybody. I voracious reader. And to me, the one word that means the most is opportunity. And we talked about it. I don't care who you are in your walk of life. If you're sitting here, every man and woman here wants an opportunity to be better, to better themselves. And we are going to give our players that. That's heads up to any player out there watching. My first meeting, you're going to get the word opportunity a lot, because if you're talented enough, if you're smart enough, which they are, we will give them the opportunity to succeed. We'll give them the opportunity, but they have to have the willpower, the talent, and sometimes when your opportunity comes, you better be ready to answer it, because sometimes it passes you by. So how are we going to change it? What are we going to do for culture? It's going to be opportunity. And it's hard work and all that. We want that thing right there. And it's going to be hard work. We won one game last year. We're going to try to give our fans what their expectations are. And it's hard winning football.
That's what you like to hear if you're a Maulers fan, right? You want to turn that ship around.
Thank you, Coach. And my second question is for Moose Johnston. I was wondering, in the original 5-year plan, when the USFL was starting back up last year, was moving to the northern hubs in that original plan, or with the success of season 1, has the plan been accelerated a bit?
No, this has always been the plan that Eric Shanks provided to us, my first day there.
We've heard about this a lot, right? Year 1, get on the field. Year 2, expand, and then ultimately move into
players and everybody in the league.
all the markets.
Right? That was our motto. So that's year 1. Here's the plan. Here's your marching orders. Let's go out and execute. We knew what year 2 was going to look like, and we have an idea of what the thoughts and plans are for year 3. But for us to really be successful, we've got to say, I'm in year 2. I'm not worried about year 3 right now. I mean, it's just year 2 for us on the football side. We've got a lot of work to do with the expansion. It was easy last year in one city for a number of reasons. It has its pluses and minuses, but the biggest plus was we had all of our people there. Mm-hmm. And teamwork, you hear that word repeated over and over again here, teammates. That one of the biggest things I talk about to our group is being a good teammate. And we have people in the athletic training department helping out the equipment guys helping out production. You didn't have a title. There were no titles that happened during the course of the weekend that were a part of your designation during the course of the week. Your title was get the job done. And you get the job done the best you can. And when you need to lean on somebody, lean on somebody. When you can help, go help somebody. That's what we did in Birmingham, and that's what will continue to be a part of the fabric of the USFL moving forward into these other hubs.
Warning, power may go out again.
And our teams are going up to Memphis
to play.
Guess who's coming with them? A lot of staff from Birmingham, because that's a heavy lift for all those people in Memphis to get that work done with the people who are in Memphis. So we're going to continue to grow as a USFL family, be great teammates, and helping each other out. But yeah, we definitely had an idea of what the rollout was going to be, and we're going to be able to control that, but we'll always be based on our model last year, which is crawl, walk, run.
Can I add something to that?
This
is part of Coach 101. I told you I'm a storyteller. Crawl, walk, run. But they forgot to tell you something in real life. There's another walk and then a crawl as you get older if you're old enough to survive. So enjoy the ride. And that's why I tell my players, this doesn't last forever. So you may crawl, walk, run, and then as you get to the other side of that curve, you're going to start walking again because you can't run. Then you're going to crawl, and hopefully your kids will take care of you.
There you go. Prayers in the chat that the power stays on, folks. I got a notice saying it's out. Clearly it's not out, but it might not stay on. I don't know. Prayers in the chat.
All right.
That's it for the Q&A session. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Daryl.
Thanks, Sean.
All right, perfect timing. There we go. Prayers and claps in the chat. Prayers and claps in the chat. Like I said, power might go out. So that was actually pretty good time. 5 years of Newsroom Spectacular continues on. We got some prayers in the chat. What are your thoughts on this big news? Like I said, folks in the chat, do you plan on attending a USFL game this year? We have so far Birmingham, Memphis, and now Canton, Ohio officially announced as hubs for Season 2, 2023, kicking off April 15th. And we got a big old event in Detroit tomorrow. And the rumor going around town is that Ford Field is going to serve as home for the Michigan Panthers and the Philadelphia Stars 40 years after they faced each other in the inaugural USFL championship in 1983, where the Michigan Panthers became the last professional football team to win a championship in the state of Michigan. Folks, I'm getting excited. Folks, I'm getting hyped. Let me know in the chat how you feeling. What games do you plan on going to? What hubs do you plan on going to? I know we got Rando in the chat. You know he's going to be there for the Stallions, baby. We got Jake and James speaking of the event tomorrow. They're going to be there live covering the event for Newsroom correspondents. We got Mac Craft. Sorry if I screwed up your name here. Going to Memphis all year. Christopher McDonald, trip to Memphis. Sign you up. We got spring stock news coming soon. Schedules are in the works. Trying to work through a couple other little things. But again, tomorrow, pending the power doesn't go crazy, we're going to be live again. We're going to be covering that Detroit announcement. We're going to have our correspondents live on the scene. So make sure you're following all the Newsroom crew over on Twitter or wherever they're at. Because some are on Instagram. Some are on other places as well. Hey, and since we're all here, make sure you're liking the video. If you're not subscribed. Click the bell. It builds morale. But I got to say, I'm feeling pretty good. Let's just put this announcement up here. Yes, Jake, I know. I don't have the updated graphic here. Maybe we can... I'm not going to fix it on the fly. I'm too lazy. We're just going to leave it like this. We're going to act like the Maulers are still wearing purple, baby. Big times are coming. So let's look through the chat here. Now, I know I had mentioned putting down where you would like to see the USFL expand in the future. Now, here, first, let's talk about Canton here, because I know there's a lot of questions. Why isn't Pittsburgh rebranding, or will they rebrand? And I mean, clearly that doesn't seem to be the case. But let me say this. If Canton is a success again, just like it was for the playoffs and the championship last year, I'd have to say, at minimum, the USFL would probably explore expanding, creating a new team for that market. Now, I think the Canton Gold, move that Denver team gold with the gold jackets, Hall of Fame action. I think that makes sense, baby. But we'll have to see. But I don't think we're going to see the Maulers rebrand. But I could see them expand. Now, speaking of the playoffs, we got a couple interesting tidbits out of this press conference. So first, April 23rd, that's the first game at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. We got the Maulers. We got the Generals. We also learn that Canton is, again, going to play host for the championship game and the Northern playoffs, the divisional playoffs, right? Meaning, it sounds like we're going to get another hub, maybe serve as the South playoff divisional home, which, again, you love to see it expand out. I will say this, Canton, Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium was a perfect size for the championship game. We had a blast. I can't wait to go there again. And so we have a comment. So I'm sorry if I got your name. I'm going to say Zakali. Correct me in the chat. He says, or she, sorry, Ford Field is going to make people take the league more serious. It's a smart move. I agree. We got an NFL stadium now. I mean, technically, kind of, sort of. Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium does play host to the NFL for the, that preseason Hall of Fame game. But Ford Field, real deal. Detroit Lions restore the roar. Now it's going to be a race to who can win the championship faster, or the Super Bowl for the Lions. I'm begging and praying it happens in my lifetime. But all things are looking good for the USFL. As far as expansion, we got another comment. Christopher McDonald. Oakland, Denver, Chicago, Washington. Gunslingers or outlaws to Canton. All right, interesting. Interesting pick there. I think Oakland, for sure. Oakland, I think, is a city. Once they start looking at expanding out west, I think Oakland, maybe LA, one of those two. LA kind of makes sense too, just because that's where Fox HQ is at. Chicago, I mean, I feel like there's a good opportunity there, especially as the Bears build a new stadium. Soldier Field is just there, kind of sitting, ready to go. And I mean, looking at where we're at here in Detroit, I mean, nothing against EMU, but it is cold. It is still cold in those early months. April, May, I've still seen snow growing up as a young lad in Detroit. So having that dome is going to be important here. Apparently, we're supposed to have some big XFL news today. I don't know what it is. I heard someone say that it could be maybe a new Zoa flavor. I don't know. We'll have to see. Let's check the old inbox here. Anything come through? Nope, not yet. Not yet. But we'll keep you posted if that happens while we're on stream. Right now, it's all USFL because, like I said, we got the big news today. Big news tomorrow. We'll be going live again. Probably about 10 or 10:30 Eastern, pending the power stays up and steady, which I think it will. I think we're going to be good. We had to have a technical difficulty for the 5-year anniversary of Newsroom, and boy, oh boy, was it a big type of technical difficulty. And I had some backup plans, but then we ran into issues. I mean, it is. Oh, it's just that they're playing in Orlando. Okay, so nothing huge out of the XFL press conference. Not nearly as big as this. Northern Hub, and like I said, tomorrow's news with the USFL. Seems, and again, 5 years of Newsroom isn't just USFL Newsroom. We have XFL Newsroom, USFL Newsroom. We also have Arena Newsroom. And there should be some news coming over on that front as well. We're not going to be the guys that spoiled the surprise, but keep an eye on over at things at Arena Newsroom over on Twitter or arenanewsroom.com. Similar as xflnewsroom.com and usflnewsroom.com, which you should be checking out daily for all the latest news in respects to those leagues there. Man, oh man, what a big year we're going to have here at Newsroom. Like I said, Zach and I are already making plans for spring stock for week 1, spring stock 2023. We got Jake and James serving as correspondents tomorrow. We had Ducky serving today. We're looking for some folks in Birmingham and Memphis. So if you're in either one of those areas and you want to join the Newsroom crew, hey, just ping me over on Twitter, either at XFL Newsroom or you can find me at The Ref Says. And let's talk, man. Let's make it happen. If you're here, make sure you drop a like on the video. I think we covered all that stuff. Q&A time. What are thoughts, questions you guys want to know in the chat? We'll give you a couple minutes here. I mean, we had all sorts of news this week. Like I said, we kind of brushed on the recoloring of the Maulers going from the purple and orange to the black and gold, which some people said, hey, why are you trying to rip off the Steelers? But little known fact, maybe not such a little known fact, but every professional team, whether it's football, hockey, baseball, you know what colors they have in Pittsburgh? They're rocking that black and gold. And now the Maulers are there. So, I mean, they get to keep that record of being the only city where all the teams share the same colors. What are the sentiments? I've seen both. I know Jenna wasn't too hot on him, but I saw some other people were pretty jived. So let us know in the chats. If you have any questions in the chat, sign us up. Like I said, hopefully we'll be a little bit more organized tomorrow. I think the kerfuffle of the power kind of threw things off there. But tomorrow should be a better day. And then Friday, we have episode 44 of the USFL podcast. I won't be on that one. I have plans with the wife. We're going to a little food tasting thing, and I'm going to fill my belly with all sorts of treats at the Taste of the Town, baby. Let's get signed up. But Zach's going to be there with James Larson, who will have all the details from the Detroit event. They're going to be going over everything, plus all the latest news, all the stuff that we talked about here. But hey, since you're here, go find the other videos. Set the reminder now. That'll give you a notice if you click the bell. If you get some morale, go ahead and find that video. Set the reminder. Join us again tomorrow. Hey, my man, Jordan, how's it going? How's it going, my friend? Doing pretty good. Hopefully you know what? We're about to wrap things up, but we got a whole replay. But I'll tell you this, buddy. You came at a good time at least, because earlier today we had a whole power outage delaying this whole extravaganza, spectacular 5 years of newsroom. I can't believe it, folks. 5 years. You know, if you look behind me, let's go to the big cam. We're going to go to the big cam here. If you look behind me, right there, those are press passes. Now, if you look close, there's some spring league passes there. Those are from the good old days. Those are almost 5 years old. We got the XFL passes. We got the USFL champion right there, up there. The USFL championship pass. Planning on collecting many more of these bad boys. We're going to have like I said, a red letter year here at Newsroom. I do want to give a shout out to everybody that works on the Newsroom team, though, because it isn't just me. It isn't just Zach. We got Jake from USFL Shadow on Twitter, Within the Shadows podcast. He'll be putting out that content soon. We got James Larson. I mean, he's always knocking out all sorts of different articles going. He's going to be there on the spot, like I said, tomorrow. We got Ducky as a correspondent, gotten his first action today. We got, we got Logan. We got Gavin Semler, Jake Henry, longtime contributor, Omar, Denton Ramsey, Stars Blobber. What is the new guy's name? I'm the worst. I want to say it's Nathan Thorne. Something Thorne. We'll get that. I apologize. We got all sorts of members over at the Newsroom crew. I know I'm probably forgetting a couple of them here, and I apologize. I probably should have this written down. I will. You know what I'll do, though? I will be a little bit more prepared tomorrow. And I mean, we've had so many guys come through that, aren't even doing stuff anymore. Like I said, Tron Hawkins, that was probably audio content. You're talking about yourself. But hey, yeah. But not lacking in content. You're right. My bad. Not the best way to audio content lacking, but the dude is knocking it out of the park over on social media. So like I said, make sure you're following at USFL Shadow. Nick Thorne, thank you. Hey, I was close. We're building on the team. We got new members joining every day. And if you want to join, ping us over on Twitter. We need members, especially if you're in that Birmingham or Memphis market. But hey, I really just want to thank everybody for joining for the stream, joining us, sticking around for as long as you have, and hopefully joining us tomorrow, joining us Friday for episode 44 of the USFL podcast. And I'll probably be doing more live streams throughout the year. I know we're going to be doing a bunch throughout the season. A little bit extra content, live recaps after the game, maybe some live reactions with Zach and different members of the Newsroom crew. And keep in mind, we're going to have people on the scene at all of these different events throughout the year. So keep your eyes posted. Make sure you're subscribed to not just me, not just at USFL Newsroom, not just at USFL Podcast, not just at The Ref Says, but all of our Newsroom crew. We have James Larson, PFN, Like I said, at USFL Shadow, at Ducky in Disguise. There's all, I don't know everybody's handles, so I'm not going to try to guess them all. But I think this is probably a good spot to wrap it up. I mean, like I said, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be talking about the news then. We'll be covering it live in Detroit, hopefully as the event happens. Hopefully without a mysterious delay in between. Like I said, thanks for joining us. We'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow. So until next time, guys, sign everybody up. And, we got to find the stream thing here. I'm really glad you could join. All right, sign you up for real this time. Party on, everybody.
Low self-esteem is like a virus. You catch it from other people. Low self-esteem is like a virus. You catch it from other people. You didn't get your low self-esteem necessarily because you were born with it. It's got to be a genetic component here. But mostly it comes from narcissists who have their own broken self-esteem, and they want you to have a broken self-esteem, and if you don't have it, they're going to give it to you. You catch it from other people, and you can get rid of it, just like you can get rid of it. Right? Low self-esteem is like a virus. You catch it from other people. Low self-esteem is like a virus. You catch it from other people. You do have a constitution. You do have immunity. But it takes a little while, just like getting cold. The cold wins for a while, and then your natural immunity takes over. Your natural immunity can get you away from this low self-esteem that you caught from other people. It's not in you. It's something you caught. And you're going to beat the shit out of it. Just like your immune system will beat the shit out of it. 99% of you plus. Low self-esteem is like a virus. You catch it from other people. Low self-esteem